So, it started at a border crossing, just a 6-second interaction. The U.S. Customs officer handed back the passport, glanced up and said it casually, like it was printed on the back of his eyelids. Enjoy your trip. Don't live in America. No smile, no wink, just a line. The traveler, a Canadian woman in her 60s, paused, not sure if she was supposed to laugh. The officer had already turned away. Next car. She told her husband in the parking lot. He thought it was funny. She didn't. By the time they crossed back home a week later, she'd told the story 10 times. 3 weeks later, it showed up on Reddit. The headline, U.S. Border Guard told my mom, enjoy your trip. Don't live in America. No one questioned it. Everyone knew what it meant, and no one could stop saying it. At first, it stayed near the borders, whispered jokes between agents, muttered under the breath after a green light. But America doesn't do subtle. It spread to gas stations in northern towns. Waitresses in Buffalo started saying it with the bill. Golf marshals near Scottsdale said it to visiting Canadians before tee-off. Enjoy your trip. Don't live in America. Some said it with a smile, some deadpan, some like a warning. It meant whatever you wanted it to. Then it showed up on TikTok. A gas station clerk in Vermont says it to a French couple. The couple laughs nervously. The video goes viral. The comments aren't laughing. Bro said the quiet part out loud. Honestly, fair. Tell me the country's falling apart without telling me. By week 6, there were hats, embroidered in cursive, Etsy shops, mugs, shot glasses. A restaurant in Nashville renamed its happy hour, Don't Live in America Wednesdays. CNN ran a segment asking, is this phrase just dry humor or a cry for help? The panelists smiled too hard. None of them said the phrase. But a staffer for The Late Show leaked the writer's board. A big white card that read, Don't Live in America, circled 3 times. The joke didn't air. Too real. Meanwhile, in the real world, things were getting worse. Inflation had rebranded itself. Eggs were luxury items. Rent was a punchline. And somewhere in Indiana, a town hall meeting ended with a mayor whispering the phrase into a hot mic. It was the new way of saying, good luck. Thanks for stopping by. Don't live in America. Nice wedding. Don't live in America. Your Uber's here. Don't live in America. The phrase spread like water, slipping into cracks no one noticed. Public school teachers started muttering it during recess. A librarian in Minnesota accidentally stamped it onto return receipts. It trended again. And then something happened that no one could explain. Americans started saying it to each other. Not ironically, not bitterly, just normally. At Walmart checkouts, at gas pumps, after Sunday church. All right, y'all, have a great week. Don't live in America. No one blinked. A Houston dentist printed it on his appointment reminder cards. A Florida high school put it on the senior prank banner. A DMV worker in Ohio answered the phone with it. Twice. Congress noticed, but not in the way anyone expected. During a Senate subcommittee hearing on foreign policy, a hot mic picked up a Republican staffer saying it under her breath as the room cleared. A few days later, a Democrat on the other side repeated it on purpose, in full voice, into the record. They were discussing a bill on student loans. Enjoy your trip, he said, shaking his head at the numbers on the screen. Don't live in America. C-SPAN caught it. Twitter lit up. That night, a newscaster tried to quote it and burst out laughing halfway through. They cut to commercial. By now, the White House had been briefed. An internal memo discouraged staff from using the phrase. No official reason was given. The press secretary dodged a question on it, pretending not to know what reporters meant. But the next day, President Trump walked out to the South Lawn for a quick gaggle. A reporter asked about the economy. Trump shrugged. "Things are going great," he said. "Jobs are booming. Stock market's up. People are traveling more than ever. And if they're smart," he looked directly at the camera, "they'll enjoy their trip and not live in America." Silence. A few chuckles. One journalist actually gasped. It was the first time he said it on record. By that weekend, Fox News was selling merch. By the following week, so was MSNBC. The phrase had no party. It needed none. It just was. Colleges started printing it on unofficial commencement sashes. "Enjoy your trip," in gold. "Don't live in America," in black. The valedictorian at Stanford ended her speech with it. She got a standing ovation. The university disavowed her the next morning. On Wall Street, a trader made millions shorting American airline stocks using a bot that tracked the phrase on social media. He named the bot Tripmaster. At a resort in Cabo, bartenders started offering the American Special, a double shot of tequila served with a printed napkin that read, "Don't live in America." No one complained, because somehow, somewhere in the mess, it started to feel normal. It was what you said when there was nothing left to say. Then came the congressional hearing. A bipartisan tech panel was grilling a social media CEO about censorship. One senator from Montana went off script. "I've got nothing against this country," he said, adjusting his flag pin. "But if I had a daughter asking where to build a future..." He paused. "I'd say, enjoy your trip. Don't live in America." He wasn't censured. He was re-elected in a landslide. The phrase was no longer cultural commentary. It was policy. Stallone, now deeply embedded in the administration, was asked about it during a White House holiday press event. He wore a navy suit, no tie, and the expression of a man who'd seen every kind of failure, but still somehow made it to the podium. The question was simple. Do you think the phrase sends the wrong message? Stallone blinked, then leaned forward. "If you don't like the message," he said, "maybe change the country." A pause. "And until then..." He nodded once, slow and final. "Don't live in America." That night, the quote ran on every screen in Times Square. The next morning, Trump posted it on Truth Social, 5 times in a row. A new line had formed outside the Canadian consulate in Los Angeles. Quiet, polite, and 3 blocks long. They weren't there to protest. They weren't even asking for help. They were just there, hoping someone might stamp their passport and say it back. You know the phrase by now. It doesn't need a punchline. It is the punchline. This is the irony. And that's the irony. So, disclaimer. This video is a work of satire and fiction. It is intended for entertainment purposes only and should not be interpreted as fact, news, or a representation of real events. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely coincidental.